and we're in the middle of nowhere. And I need to be back at work in 2 days. So I go, okay, well, can we get home? He goes, oh, we can get home, but it's going to be boom, boom, boom. And your head's going to be hitting the ceiling and the baby's going to be screaming. I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay, just start driving. I go, I need you to shut up. And I am going to go into deep manifestation mode. Don't say a word. Mm-hmm. I got so deep within for 35 minutes. I'm talking to my angels. I'm talking to God. I'm talking to my ancestors. And I am thanking them for going under the car and lifting it up and carrying us home. That's specifically what I'm manifesting.
Okay.
Please lift it and carry us, because it was just smashing on the whatever it's called. Yes. I don't know what it's called. We're going 70 on the freeway. It's snowing, like white out. All of a sudden, the headlights point down onto the asphalt.
Yeah.
Our car had been lifted and we were being carried, and we got home over 600 miles, being carried and lifted by my angels.
Welcome to the Weekly Transit. Interviews and conversations from an astrological lens. There's nothing more fascinating to me about this earth than the people who inhabit it. My mission is to create deep, vulnerable, and open conversations that invite our unique guests to share the arc of their ever-evolving journey through life, in the hope that their stories inspire and resonate with you, our listeners. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. I am here with my guest, Andrea Lowell. Andrea Lowell is a self-mastery mentor and manifestation expert. She is somebody who I did a reading for about 4 years ago with her husband. It was a funny thing. It's like my neighbor's mom, I think, was being trained by you and something, like you were working with my neighbor Rachel, her mom Teresa, and she wanted to give you a gift for your birthday, and so she gave you a reading with me, and as a result, I met you and your husband. And since then, I've been following you on Instagram and just so amazed by your story and wanted to bring you on because I want to hear more about it. And I'm just inspired and fascinated by you. And so before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that Andrea is a Capricorn sun, a Capricorn rising, and like me, a Pisces moon. So it's great to have you here, Andrea. Thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Yes, when my client Teresa got me a gift of a reading, I was just like, I have the best clients ever. They truly get me. Because like, what would you get someone like me? Like I have everything I want. I can manifest anything I need.
Yes.
But I didn't have a good chart reader. I didn't have anything like that in my life. I had a couple of friends who would give me little tidbits here and there. Mm-hmm. But your reading was so thorough, and I loved the artwork that came with it. You answered so many questions I had of mine. And it was just the most wonderful thing. And I've been a fan of yours ever since. I've included you in my newsletters to my clients and my email. I share a lot of your work actually in like my private Telegram groups with my clients.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
I had no
big fan
idea.
of yours.
Okay, cool. Well, I love it. Wow. Awesome, Andrea. Well, so tell me your story. Like, tell me, how did you become, or how did you even know, like, I feel like, self-mastery manifestation expert, like that's not something that, I feel like that's something that's always within you, but it's not something that you're always aware of from the beginning. Or maybe like there's an inkling that you were aware that there was something within you that you could manifest. But how did you become the you that you are today?
It's interesting because they go hand in hand. A lot of people say, well, why aren't you just a manifestation coach? Well, how I teach manifestation is through self-mastery. So you have to be on point with your mind, body, and soul in order to call in things as effortlessly as I call in. And so that's what I teach people. I don't have people do vision boards and stuff like that, something you do at a workshop. It's like really the inner work. So I didn't find self-mastery. Self-mastery found me, like legitimately. I always had a lot of things really going for me, like, okay, I have my diet locked in. I have my fitness locked in. But what's this missing piece? I have, mastered the physical, but something's not right. And my entire 20s, I realized I had a spirituality sized hole in my life. And I was filling that hole with partying and alcohol and attention. I used to be a radio host. I used to be a TV host. And I just thought that partying and drinking was part of the lifestyle in Hollywood. This is who I am. But what I did was when I filled that aspect of myself that was void, I pushed all God, all source, whatever the cool kids are calling it today. I pushed all of that out and there was just no room for it. When I finally stopped drinking and partying like a wild animal, I started to realize all the little tiny miracles that were happening in my life, synchronicities. And I started to really pay attention to them. And it was things as benign as seeing like 333 and 444 everywhere. And then like little tiny smaller miracles would happen. And I started to pay attention to it. I'm like, there's no way that all these really cool random things are happening in my life or popping up and these doors are opening for me and I'm choosing to walk through and then something really cool happens on the other side, unless it's of some great divine purpose. And so I started to really tap into divinity. And I grew up super religious in a very beautiful way. I have nothing poor to say about my religious upbringing. But when I went to college and I started drinking and partying, I denounced it all. I started taking philosophy classes and I thought I knew better than, everyone else that had done any religious path before me. And I started becoming an evangelical, agnostic. I'd go around telling people there's something there, but it's not what you think it is. We don't know. We can't say. And I was pretty obnoxious about that. Now, when I started to just really tap into my interests in my 20s, which was nutritional healing, quantum physics, just things I was drawn to, I actually refound God through science, which people would be like, what? So I was a biology major in school. I studied quantum theory for fun. And I refound this divine, beautiful, organizing thing, this creator, right? I choose to call it God. And when I started to start paying attention to all the little divine signs in my life, I'm looking at my own story going, oh, now it makes sense. Now I can put it all together. Oh, okay, now there's a reason that I know all this. Now I know how to take care of my mind, my body, my spirit. And now through this radical self-awareness, I can start practicing self-mastery. And it wasn't like as clear as that epiphany of like, oh, I'm going to practice self-mastery. I just started practicing it and I started feeling so good and my vibration was so high and I was literally walking around buzzing with gratitude. And people were like, what are you on? And I'm like, life, I'm high on life. And I was actually manifesting so much, Scott. Like in my early 30s, I had to pump the brakes.
Wow.
I was like, stop manifesting because I just couldn't handle the rate at things were pouring into my life. So I knew I was onto something. I knew that if I started tapping into the higher timelines through my vibration, through my own radical self-awareness, which we'll call self-mastery, radical self-awareness of everything that goes into my consciousness and out. How am I reacting? Why am I reacting? What's the underlying fear? Is there an underlying wound? Like really knowing the why behind all my what, I could really start choosing which timeline in which I was existing in or on and just aligning with what I wanted. It's very similar to like, what is that lady? Oh, Esther Hicks, right? Yeah. How she's like, tune in and tap in and whatever. Tune in, like really, she's on it. So I discovered most of what I do on my own through just practice, serendipity. And then I started coming across these teachers and I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I think. That's exactly what I feel. They're right. They're right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I knew I was on the right path. And it can be really challenging for people to be the vibration of their desires. Let's be real, really challenging because they're unwilling to look like beneath the surface of the pond and look at all of the muck.
Yes.
Because typically people want to point the finger. Oh, my mom's the reason for the muck. Oh, society's the reason for the muck.
Yes.
No, honey, the muck is your reaction to all that. That's you, boo. You are the muck. And no one likes to admit that they're the muck. So you cannot change. You cannot vibe at the frequency of your desire if you're not willing to take radical and ruthless accountability. So that's my path. And that happened when I stopped drinking. I took ruthless accountability. I started looking at my life left, right, and center. What am I so afraid of? And it was so freeing that I had a business psychic reading a few years ago. And the lady goes, it's so interesting. You're like intoxicated with God. And I go, that is such a wonderful way to put it because yes. So it's like I replaced like outside intoxicants with like that ecstasy that alignment with spirit gives you. And it's like, once you get on that, you don't really want to get off. And don't get me wrong. I've gotten off a few times and it's painful trying to get back on. So I just encourage people, once you're on that vibe, please stay on it, honey, because it's a bitch to get back on.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm feeling high right now, just even listening to you. Like your energy is infectious and you shared so much there that I really want to unpack and get into the details of because it's so fascinating to me. Like, first of all, I love that you use the term self-mastery because it literally is reflected. That term self-mastery is reflected in your astrological code because yes. So it makes,
I mean, I'm not surprised, but tell me more.
It makes total sense because, you know, when I think of mastery, the sign that I think of is Capricorn.
Right.
Because Capricorn is symbolized by the goat, and the goat is trying to climb up to the top of the mountain. If you've reached the top of the mountain in whatever it is in life, then you have become a master. Like if you've climbed to the top of Mount Everest, you are a master of climbing. Like no one can take that away from you, or whatever the metaphor may be. Now the self part comes in because you're a first house sun, and the first house is associated with the first sign, which is Aries, which is the sign that represents the self. The first house is the house of personality. Wow. So right now, you know, there's a lot of planets that have been transiting through Aries. And I'm telling everyone, like, the question you need to ask yourself is, who am I? Who am I? That's the first question, because if you don't know who you are, then you don't know what you're even trying to master. And Thank you.
Thank you.
So the first thing you're mastering is the self. You've got to know who you are. Now, so I absolutely love that. Now, I also can see in your chart, you know, and I want to talk about, if you're open to talking about like the party years, because I can totally, you know, relate to you. Like I have a similar background to you. What was your religious upbringing? Where did you go to church?
I was a Christian, just non-denominational.
Protestant.
No, just, well, we went to a church
Catholic.
called Brethren. No, we were a non-denominational Christian. You know, Jesus died on the cross, forgive us for our sins. Jesus is my best friend.
Yes.
You know, like it was beautiful. So I went to a private Christian school for 12 years, actually.
Okay.
Before I went to public school for high school.
Okay. And then where'd you go to college?
UC Irvine in Orange County, California.
Okay, cool. So I went to UCSB.
Nice. And, party boy. Okay, you're the party boy.
Yeah, exactly. So I had like a really similar story because I grew up very religious, you know, church twice a week, you know, Wednesdays, youth group, Sunday church. And, you know, I in high school, I kind of dabbled a little bit in the drinking and just was really kind of torn, you know, like I was very curious about the party lifestyle, but then also felt very convicted to God and Christianity. And then when I went to UCSB, it's like, oh my God, like I literally had this moment, I was wearing a cross around my neck, and I was, I hate to say it, like persecuted, but like people talked a lot of shit to me, because I was wearing this cross, and I crumbled, I gave into it because, I felt, very just like sort of ostracized, and I tried to get involved in like some church groups, youth groups. I just did not relate to the people there. It did not seem like me. And, there was even like this prophetic moment where like the RA in my dorm freshman year, like showed up in my dorm. He was drunk, and he took my cross and like bent it. And then when I tried, yeah, exactly. I know. And then when I tried to bend it back, it broke. And it was like a graduation gift that was given to me by my pastor. And I've just felt really crushed by that. So, I dove into the partying. And then when I got to LA, it got even crazier. That's when like drugs got involved, cocaine, ecstasy, all that stuff was like a big part of my life. And being involved, like working in the Hollywood circle, like, I don't know, like, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because like stepping out of it, like now I'm 20 years removed from working in Hollywood, and really being a part of that lifestyle, almost 20 years. It felt like now I can look back and say, like, I understand what people say when they say, like, I don't know, it's like demonic there, or there are some kind of demonic spells going on there, because there's a lot of belittling, and it can be very subtle, but people that have a low self-esteem, like I'm sure I did at that time, it's very hard to stand on your own 2 feet there. Like you will be made to question yourself at every step. Did you feel that? Like where were you working? You were doing radio and TV. What was that all about?
I was the opposite kind of. I had ridiculous self-esteem. Confidence has never been an issue of mine.
That makes sense because of the first house sun. Like you identify with yourself, like you know who you are. I'm a 7th house sun, so I really vibe. I identify with the people that surround me. And what I found, like looking back at Hollywood, is I was surrounded by a lot of insecure people. And because of that, their insecurities fed into me, and it brought up, kind of all that inner work that I needed to do on myself. So you you graduated from Irvine, and then you started working in Hollywood right away.
I had been working in Hollywood since a child.
Oh, wow.
I'm extremely fortunate that no weird shit ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I think why was because I just never got famous. I never got to that level of like weird shit happening.
Yeah.
I was always like a stand-in or like a feature or like I was never like cast as like a regular on a series, but I was regularly working. I did tons of commercials, national, regional. I had regular gigs, but I just never crossed that line. So instead of like working for, Fox, and TGIF, I would be on like Saban. You know what I mean? So just like I never like made it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing. And I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I was on shows with as a kid. And we're all the same way. None of us were ever treated poorly or engaged in any weird ritualistic stuff. When I went to college, it was not my intention to continue in Hollywood at all. I kind of pumped the brakes. I wanted to be a reconstructive plastic surgeon. That's actually why I went to UCI, because they had the best biomedical program.
Oh, wow.
No partying at all. They don't even have a football team.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not a party school like that.
Not at all. But I kept getting opportunities. And in 2002, I posed for the College Girls issue special edition of Playboy.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, Scott, it was going to be a throwaway. I thought nothing was going to come of it. I was so ignorant. I didn't even change my name to a stage name because I just thought, like, what? It's the College Girls special edition. Like, no one's going to see this. No one cares.
Oh, right. Sure.
Oh, everyone cared. And I started getting tons of work from Playboy.
Oh, wow.
I started getting work with Maxim. I was on ESPN. I was on Fox Sports. I was doing lots of little day gigs, red carpet interviews, hosting, stuff like that. And I eventually got onto a reality show called The Surreal Life on VH1,
Okay,
where they
yeah,
take
I heard
they
that,
take
yeah.
a bunch of like washed up celebrities or like D-list celebrities, and they shove you in a house with
Right.
no clocks, no radio, no phones, just top shelf booze and each other. So you know what's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
And from that, that was 2006. From that, I actually started getting consistent work with SiriusXM. I was a morning radio host, and that we would simulcast eventually onto TV. So I was on radio and TV every day for years.
Wow.
And that became my full-time gig. And because I was done
And
with
what was
work,
the show? What was the show? What were you talking about on there?
it was the Playboy morning show. So
Okay.
it was kind of like, imagine if Howard Stern was like actually like really funny and high energy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's kind of that content, but like almost like in a more comical, fast paced, like ding, 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 ding way.
Yeah.
So that was our show.
And you were on that by yourself, or do you have a co-host, or?
Yeah, I was with Kevin Kline, who is the host on K-Rock in LA right now.
Right.
Yeah. And he and I,
Kevin and Bean, is that from?
He took over Kevin and Bean. It's Kevin and Allie now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's the best host I've ever met in my life. I've worked with so many people. I mean, every host you can imagine I've worked with, and Kevin Kline by far is the best. And so, yeah, he and I had a raucous, debaucherous, high energy, super funny morning show that was 3 hours a day, every day. But I was done with work, Scott, at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So what does one do? But, let's look at the chart. I delved into all of my topics of passion: nutritional wellness, holistic cancer cures, quantum theory, like all this weird stuff. I just was drawn to, and I couldn't stop researching this stuff. So that's how I would spend my afternoons. And then I'd spend my nights drinking.
Yes. Oh, wow. So interesting. What an interesting dichotomy between the two.
Weird, right?
It's like, and I can relate to some degree because like when I was also in like the heights of my party days, I was also fasting and doing juice cleanses and that sort of stuff. So it was a weird dichotomy for me too. I was like, on one hand, I was really going nuts, and on the other hand, I was going nuts in terms of health. So
it's that extremism. It's like, I know that I'm polluting my body. Yeah. So why don't I go ahead and like do a master cleanse for 10 days and get all this out? No. And that's one of the reasons, I actually became a raw food nutritionist, with my specialty being, superfoods for longevity. And one of the reasons was self-interest.
Yes.
And I started when I stopped drinking and continued on that path, my health became like spectacular. And that's when I started coaching people in that. So, I mean, there's always a weird roundabout reason why we do the things we do, but it was really an interest of mine that started with nutritional healing, then self-interest in bringing neutrality to this really toxic state I was putting my body in, because I loved those ecstasy pills. Yeah, Scott, you and me both. And alcohol was like my number one. Like I start the party with booze and the party with booze.
Yes. Well, we're both Pisces moon, and Pisces is ruled by, or is symbolized by, the fish. And we all know the phrase, drink like a fish. So Pisces rules drugs and alcohol. So we have this emotional connection to escapism. That would also indicate not just the drugs and alcohol, but the the Playboy and that sort of stuff, you know, these are all forms of escapism. You're creating a
Totally.
fantasy, you know, that's what Pisces is about. And so, you know, it's interesting because you had mentioned that, like, when you're working with clients, you're like, you've got to go within. And you've got to like pull out all of your muck, all of the stuff that's in you. You've got to take responsibility for that. So that's a very Piscean frequency, because Pisces is the sign that represents the unconscious. And the unconscious is where we keep all of our guilt, our shame, our regret, our blame. And most of us are trying to keep that down in the unconscious. And we do that through drugs and alcohol, Netflix and chill, binge watching, doom scrolling, whatever your fix is for fantasy to help you escape having to acknowledge what you are guilty for, what you are shameful of, what you regret. But when you're able to do that and you're able to forgive yourself, show yourself compassion, because that's a key aspect of Pisces, is being compassionate with yourself. So you can integrate those thought patterns and memories with understanding, forgiveness, and love.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people, though, when they'll hear this and they'll go, well, I like to doom scroll. I like to watch Netflix. I like to overeat. I like to drink. I'm not suppressing anything.
Yeah.
That's called denial. And it's fine.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need to have anything that takes us away from ourself if we didn't have anything that needed to take us away from ourselves.
Exactly.
So just because you're not aware of it, please don't be offended when we say that could be the reason why you are doing something, because typically 99% of the time it is. Because I know when I was in denial, I didn't know I was in denial. I had no idea. I would have thought if you told me that I was drinking to, like, I don't know, escape some reality, I'd be like, no, I just like to party. Like, and you're just saying that because you can't hang with me. Like, you just don't get it. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything. I wasn't ready to face myself until I was ready to face myself. And then as soon as I became ready, it was like, oh.
When was that moment?
There's been a couple of moments.
Yeah.
I got a DUI. And
when was that?
2012.
2012.
And the DUI was not the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Going to jail was not the rock bottom. I
yeah.
had a great time in jail. Me and the hookers, we were exchanging like wild sex stories. Like, I was like running that bitch, okay? And I was only in there for like one night.
Wow, I love it.
I found my people. That should have been my rock bottom, right?
Yeah.
But I actually had a fine time in jail. I knew I couldn't go back though, because the food was just an abomination.
How long were you there?
Just a day, but it was enough. Yeah. It was enough. They gave me a bologna sandwich, Scott.
Oh,
and
God.
The mustard packet.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
I'm raw vegan, okay, at this point.
Yeah.
The mustard packet was lime green.
Oh my God. That's horrifying.
Like, how is mustard lime green?
Yeah.
And so that started to be like, okay, I can't live this life. I'm not going back here. But it was when I got home and I started to realize the financial karma of that situation. You know, I was realizing it was going to be, you know, between $10,000 and $15,000 to get out of that pickle.
Wow.
That's when I started to realize, like, maybe I can't live this way anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe my choices are not right. This isn't normal. Regular people don't have $15,000 restitution, court fees, and lawyer fees for just drinking one day. Yeah. Like, I started to
an
really
expensive bar tab.
Yeah, I really started to scrutinize. I remember sitting in my apartment on the floor, on the carpet, flipping through the phone book, looking for a DUI attorney, going, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Something is wrong. And I had a couple more epiphanies where I'm still doing Playboy radio. I'm still doing Playboy TV. And I'm in the makeup chair. And the lady's doing my hair and makeup. And I'm looking in the mirror, like eye gazing with myself. And I just start bawling. And at this point in my life, I'm not a crier. I think crying is for wusses. Get your shit together, like handle life. What are you crying over?
That's very Capricorn rising of you. Just so, yeah.
I'm like, I'm bald.
Yes.
And the hair girl, Sarah, was the cutest thing. She goes, "Oh my God, is it your hair?" And I'm like, "No, honey, no, everything's beautiful." I'm like, I can't keep doing this. And I realized I was betraying my soul. I looked in the mirror and I had full conscious awareness that who I was becoming spiritually, who I aspired to be, the truth of my being was not in alignment with what I was doing. And it was at that point, 2 weeks later, my show no longer existed because I couldn't do my show anymore. I couldn't go on air and start talking about like, "Oh, show me your fake tits bouncing up and down." And, "Oh, did you have sex with this celebrity?" And like, I'm like, why am I perpetuating hypersexualization of women? This, that, or the other. Like, and I'm not a feminist by any means, but I'm like, this content matter is not in alignment with who I am and where I am going. And I don't care what society does. I can't, for me, participate in that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when everything just radically shifted because I was already in my spiritual awakening. I'm already starting to do the things. I'm already in gratitude. I'm already manifesting, but I still have this low vibrational job that I would dip my toe into for a few hours a day, then go back to being this high vibe queen, dip my toe back in. And the truth was, it was financial fear. I didn't want to get rid of that paycheck, Scott.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when you surrender and you show the universe that you're not afraid to say no and close the door on things that are holding you back, that's when you're provided for. I remember quitting my job and sitting on my couch in my house. And my husband's like, "You're not going to go find a job?" And I go, "No, I'm going to manifest some abundance, dude. Like, that's what I'm going to do." And he's looking at me like, "Oh." And I remember he grabbed my laptop and he's pulling up like monster.com. And he's like, "Here, just like Indeed and stuff. Can you just like find something?" And I go in my head, I go, "I'm going to make this my mission to show him that I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I do not need to look for a job. I have faith that I will be provided for. There's no way I'm not, because my faith is steadfast. I have no doubt. I have no doubt, because everything that had gotten me to that point of saying no was successful. Yes. And every time I say no, I listen to that divine voice. Things were handed to me and provided for me in beautiful, miraculous ways. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call and this company wants to like just give me a check for like $21,000.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay.
What for? What for? Why?
They wanted to pay me for having spoken about their product on my radio show.
Oh my God. Wow.
I'm like, absolutely.
Wow.
So I go, "Honey, look, I don't need to work. I don't need to do anything. The universe provides." Now, I don't want to minimize this for listeners. I manifested like a motherfucker. Okay.
So how so? What does that mean?
I was falling asleep in deep gratitude about 30 minutes a night. Every cell in my body lit up with gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that money coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that money coming into me so easily and effortlessly. Thank you for delighting and dazzling me with the effortless ease in which this money flows to me. Like, in my head, just like over and over. So I always manifest with effortless ease. I don't want to work hard for my money or anything. I want everything to come to me easily. So I always throw that in. But even saying that just now, I got chills. Yes. I believe it when I say it. And I would do that every night before going to bed. But also when I would drive, anytime I had anywhere to go, radio was not on, windows were not down. I'm in my mind, driving wherever I need to go, in profuse gratitude, connecting to God, connecting to the divine, my angels, all of it. thanking them for everything that I had to thank them for.
Yes.
Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for always providing for me. Thank you for, bringing me to all these moments of clarity. And then once I got into that high vibe of like truly giving gratitude for these things that really mattered to me, then I'd start giving gratitude for what I wanted to align with, what I wanted to call in. And things were just happening for me. And it was undeniable. So I made my husband, who is a complete cynic and skeptic, into an ultimate believer.
Wow.
So it's funny, like if we have like a little argument, I'm like, you're getting me out of the zone, dude. Do you want me to manifest or not?
Yeah.
Because if you want me to manifest, you got to keep me happy, bro.
Yes.
That's your only job. Just keep me happy.
Don't break me out of my vibe.
So you have to believe it and you have to do it. So even though I call it in through effortless ease, I have to call it in with every cell of my body for it to come in through effortless ease. Because you can call stuff in through hard work too. That's just not the path I want to take.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. A couple things, because this is fascinating.
Yeah.
First of all, that breakthrough that you had where you said, I'm done with the radio show. What year was that?
I don't know. Maybe 2015 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm just curious because I love looking at where the planets were and see like what was going on, because like during your DUI 2012, you were going through your Saturn return.
I was 29 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And so your South Node, which is your past life karma, it's the gifts that you received through the traits that you cultivated in your past lives that you brought into this life. The more you spend your energy there, which is what we typically do because it's what we're used to, it's what our soul knows, the more frustrated and flustered you become, because where you need to be focusing your attention is in the North Node, which is the karmic pathway of the soul in terms of what you're meant to develop in this lifetime. And so your South Node is in the 12th house, which is associated with the 12th sign, which is Pisces. So diving into that fantasy realm or the drugs and alcohol is your South Node frequency. And when the Saturn return comes, if you are in that South Node frequency, then you have some hard lessons that pull you out of that frequency and get you. And your North Node is in the 6th house, which is that Virgo energy, which is all about health, diet, daily routine, job, and that sort of practice of a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
So that's fascinating. What's also interesting to me is like the manifestation. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with your human design?
Yes.
Okay. Like, so you're a specific manifester.
Yes.
That's yeah.
I'm a 1-3 generator. So it goes to show like, one is the investigator. It's like I go to the bottom of every rabbit hole I am interested in.
Yes.
And I'm interested in a lot. So that's why I am considered an expert by many. Like it's actually happily annoying at times. My phone is blowing up all day long. I'm people's primary care physician. I'm their spiritual advisor. I'm their, like, people are like, oh, I just found out my mom has cancer. What do I do? I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, it's like, because people know that the level of research that I do on any given topic is obscene. Wow. And again, my job afforded me that. Who has every day, all day for like 15 years to spend researching stuff? Most people have jobs during the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I was done with work at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So I got to pursue everything I was interested in. So it's that's in my human design. And the third line is the martyr. Yes. I learn by trial and error.
Yes.
I learn through the hard knocks of life.
Yes.
You could tell me, don't drink, Andrea. And I'd be like, okay, that makes sense on paper, but I actually need to like get really karmically affected to hear that message. I need to have some consequences for me to get that message.
I'm a 3-5, so I'm also the martyr and the heretic. So
yes.
So, but you're a specific manifester, and it's interesting because like there's in human design, you're either a non-specific or a specific manifester, and you have that really dialed in. It's interesting. Like there's the story of Jim Carrey, who's also a Capricorn, where he is famous for telling the story about how when he was an out of work comic and he would feel bad about himself or whatever, he'd drive up into the Hollywood Hills and look down at the valley or the basin and just see all those twinkling lights. And he would just think about all his favorite actors and directors, and they all wanted to work for him. And he wouldn't drive down the mountain until he actually believed it, like in every cell of his body. And then he wrote himself a check. He wrote himself a check for $10 million and dated it. And by the time the date came, he could cash the check. So he's also a specific manifester. So, you know, the non-specific, which is like me, which is more about like the feeling than like what it is. Because whenever I try to specifically manifest something, I get blocked because it's like, no, Scott, there's something that's even better out there for you. That's how I became the astrologer, because it's not something that I ever aspired to be, but I had a feeling of what I wanted to be, and this is what showed up. So,
I mean, very much the same. I never thought this was who I was going to be at all. Like literally, I thought I was going to be a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, that's so wild.
But I just followed the yeses of my body, leaned into the feelings, kept like following those divine signs, hearing what my body was telling me I wanted to pursue, and really not denying that. So yeah, I've tried.
And you also honored the no's.
Oh, 100%.
Well. Yeah, exactly.
Very much like you. Like I tried the non-specific manifesting. Like I wrote the check and I put it on, you know, a foam core board.
Yeah.
That's never happened. Like that's not the way I do it. I'm not a tangible. I'm an intangible.
Okay. Yes.
I have to feel it. I have to believe it. I have to align with it. So some people would say, well, if your client's a non-specific manifestor, how can you teach this or that? My clients find me through vibrational alignment.
Yes.
So people who are drawn to work with me, it's because that God, source, the divine spirit has brought them to me so I can teach them my ways. I've never got a client that is not meant to work with me, except for at the very beginning. And that was a lesson for me about what not to accept.
Right.
Right.
I feel you, because like when I first was starting my astrology business, I'm getting all kinds of advice. Well, this is what you need to do, how to get a client, this and that. And I'm like, I only want to work with people that want to work with me. I'm not trying to,
yes.
I'm not trying to go out and like hustle somebody to get a reading with me. Like, no, it's like either you feel the vibe. Either you feel my vibe. Either you feel my vibe and that's working for you, or you don't, you know?
Right.
And if you don't, that's great too. Like either way, it's good, you know, because I want there to be that flow where it's easy. Like you said, when it's easy, like it should never be difficult for me to be working with a client.
No, because let's be real, us working with clients is us being of service and fulfilling our dharma. Yes. So that's not difficult when you allow. Do I have people beating my doors down trying to work with me? No. Do I have those specific clients that I pick up every few months that are like really hungry for the medicine that I serve? Yes.
Exactly.
That's what I want. Oh my God, I'm getting like a tear in my eye, because that's when I can actually spend the time with you that I need. I have people that reach out to me too. Oh, you don't do group coaching? You don't do Zoom calls? No, I don't, because that's not my medicine. My medicine is deep, deep friendship, kind of big sister guiding, hand holding. Like you have my phone number. You're calling me at 11 at night when you're having a problem with your boyfriend. Like I'm your mentor.
Wow.
I'm teaching you to look within. Okay, why is this bothering us? What's the underlying fear?
Yeah.
Why are we reacting this way? It's not him, it's you, baby. Let's look at you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's what it is. So I can't do that on a group coaching call.
No.
Does that not mean that I don't offer that for my existing clients for refreshers? Sure. But that's not the medicine. That's not the magic. And like with you could probably do a group read of like 1,000 people and just pick out a few people, but like you would still be just picking out a few people.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The most I do in terms of like group readings is I have like these moon classes where, you know, it's somewhere between like 3 and 8 people.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So, and like I have one class that's like consistently like the same 6 to 8 people, and they've been working with me for years now.
That's
And
how
it's
it
kind of like,
goes.
it's like a group therapy session, you know?
Yeah. I'll say a lot of my self-mastery / manifestation clients were actually my raw food clients like
Yeah.
12, 13, 14 years ago.
So tell me about that. So like when you were doing the radio show, you were doing raw food coaching as well.
Yes.
Okay. So how did that all come about? Raw food.
Well, in 2001, I started researching how not to get cancer.
Yeah. Why did
And
you do that?
because my grandmother died, not from the cancer she had, but from medical
Okay.
malpractice. So
What
I thought
exactly? What was it?
she actually caught like super pneumonia in the hospital while she was just there for a super simple lung biopsy.
Oh my God.
And so I realized,
And this was '01, you said?
like 2000,
2000? Okay.
I realized I don't want to ever get cancer because I
Yeah.
don't ever want to be in that predicament where I'm at the
Yes.
mercy of a hospital and they're
Yes.
going to kill me for some bullshit reason, because my whole
Yes.
family were like, that was bullshit.
Yes.
She was 73 years old. Like, that was some bullshit. So
Yes.
I resentfully started researching, and it started with the Eat Right for Your Blood type book. And from there, I realized this is my life's passion. I'm going into it. Now, at 20, when I started going to college, I'm like 20 years old and stuff. I couldn't really put it into effect because, there was no TikTok and Instagram. None of these health lifestyles were trending. It wasn't cool to be raw juicing.
Right.
It just was not
And what does
cool.
that mean, Rob? What is a raw diet? What is that exactly?
A raw diet can vary, but it means you get the predominant calories in your life from raw food, uncooked food treated under 108 degrees. So it's living. So you're getting all the enzymes, you're getting all the nutrients, you're getting everything that God put into it without adulterating it or changing it.
And what's an example of some food items? Is just fruits and vegetables is basically what you're eating, or
Predominantly, yeah. Superfoods too, herbs, nuts, just anything that's not cooked. You could do raw meat-based too, though. You could do raw cheese, raw milk, ceviche, tartare, sushi. I mean, raw is kind of, it's actually really delectable. Because first and foremost, I'm a foodie. So if something doesn't taste good, I'm not doing it.
Right.
So I also became a self-taught raw chef, and I would be hired for retreats to do the chefing at retreats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because again, I'm a one. When I go eat something, I'm like, I'm going to be the best at this because I can't help it. Like, it's annoying, actually.
Yes.
So a lot of things I don't start because I know the energy I'm going to put into it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to become an expert in this. I'm just not going to look at it.
Right.
It's annoying.
Right.
So when I was like drinking and partying, I realized I have to take this super acidic lifestyle of mine, and I have to bring some, basicness to it and create neutral. So I'm drinking and partying every night. I'm going to do raw plant-based diet every day. And I was doing that for my own health, my own well-being. And then when I quit drinking and my health just became something unmatched, unparalleled, superhuman, literally. I was like, who is this? Where did this six-pack come from? What? Why do I only need a few hours of sleep? This is crazy. I started teaching people about it, but I didn't have any letters behind my name. So some people didn't take me seriously. So I go, okay, fine. I'm going to study under David Avocado Wolf. I'm going to go to the Body Mind Institute. I'm going to get my, certification on this. I'm going to become now a raw food expert. And there's going to be some letters behind my name. And I did that. And I created an online program before people were creating online programs. And it was called Upgrade to Raw, because you're going to upgrade your life in every way, mentally, physically, spiritually, when you start eating living foods, because the density and the vibration of those foods is going to elevate your personal vibration as well.
Wow.
And I took clients through an 8-week course, customizing a raw diet for each of their needs. Most people came to me in dire straits, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, things like that. And every single person got fixed of their issues. But what they didn't really come to me for was for that spiritual awakening. And I would say 80% of my clients had a radical spiritual awakening, where most of them are like life coaches now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. All through changing their diet.
Yes.
Yes. And so what was it about the raw food diet that can help prevent cancer from happening?
Well, the cancer can't feed on it, but also everything's medicinal. So it's like creating an immaculate immune system. So your body's not wasting any of its energy on digestion or ridding itself of toxins or pesticides or seed oils, because in an organic, obviously raw diet, all of the crap is eliminated. So you're just giving your body pure life force. So every single plant and every single thing on this earth, the creator put with a spiritual intention. So if I'm taking in all these little different spiritual intentions of all these beautiful foods, now I'm living that and I'm embodying that. How is cancer going to flourish? How is any disease going to flourish? And it actually starts healing and reversing, because let's say there was an issue. Your body's energy that was going to all that profuse detoxification, just, the shit they're spraying in the skies, the air we're breathing in, all the stuff, medications. Now your body's energy is just going to constant cellular detoxification. So if there's no debris, if you're just running proficiently, if you're, metabolically just thriving, how can you possibly not be able to flick disease away? Right. And that's what it does. It just keeps your cells immaculate. Yeah. So that's why most people don't do a raw diet unless they are in severe, dire straits, right? Because they're not motivated to do something that extreme. But when we look at the nature of our reality and our being and who we are as humans, is it really that extreme? Is that what we were designed to do? If we want to get biblical, let's look at the Garden of Eden. That's what they were doing. They were doing a raw plant-based diet, and those animals were their friends. Wow. And you know what I mean? Yeah. And I imagine like the Garden of Eden was just this place of, there's no dis-ease. Right. It's just heaven on earth. Yes. And so I do believe that the Creator did design us to eat raw fruits and vegetables. Truly. I do think fish too, depending on what day of the week it is, but I do think the Creator designed us to eat fish. And so people will say, well, are you a vegan? No, I'm not a vegan. I'm not. I really never have been. I've always been plant-based, but I do what my body tells me. And I listen to the intelligence of my body. Yes. Because it's smarter than I am.
Yes. Amazing. So, but do you eat red meat at all anymore now, or
right
never?
Now I do.
Yeah.
And I didn't eat red meat for 15, 20 years. Right now it's mostly because where I live, it's really hard to be mostly raw where I live.
Why is that?
The availability of the type of produce that I would want to live like a thriving, delicious lifestyle is challenging. It'd be like, romaine and zucchini and like, store-bought apples and like regular banana. That's not the raw lifestyle I want. Right. I want like the Vietnamese food and like Japanese, like I want that. So, because where I live now, I'm more of an omnivore.
And what does that mean exactly?
I eat anything I want that's healthy.
Anything you want that feels
like
good.
Anything under the sun that nourishes and fuels my body. I will not eat toxic crap. Don't get me wrong. Once in a while I will because it's fun and I know my body can handle it. Right. But I'm not going to eat things that I know are poison. Absolutely not.
You're not eating processed foods out of a box or something like that.
No, I actually cook everything from scratch. This is going to sound crazy because I know I don't look like this. I mill my own flour.
Wow.
Like I'm that person. I'm like literally everything is from scratch.
Wow. What does that even mean to mill your own flour? What is
like you get the whole wheat berry and I use the inkhorn, the heirloom.
And you're grinding it down or something?
You're grinding it down. Yeah, I do everything from scratch.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
Because the level of research I've gone to on everything, I'm like, if I don't want to get poisoned by this matrix that we live in, I just got to do it all myself. Yes. And I've created a life where I can. Because people will go, that's nice for you, Andrea. I'm so great. Oh, like amazing. I can't do that. I live in the city. I used to live in the city. I created a life where I can do the things I want because I have the time that affords me to do that.
Yes.
Like that's the life I created. I literally remember saying 5-6 years ago, I want a life where I do nothing all day, but like cook and like
Yeah.
take care of my baby.
Yes.
And like, I didn't even mean it like that seriously. But lo and behold, I have a life where I do nothing all day, but like prepare food and take care of
But you know what's funny is like talking about your north and south node. Your south node, we said, is in the 12th house. Your north node is in the 6th house. The 6th house is health, diet, routine. But your south node is in Capricorn and your north node is in Cancer. So that means that the more that you are following that dream and fantasy to achieve great things and really work to achieve, the more you're going to find unfulfillment. Whereas the more the Cancer energy is being the mother, it's being in the home, it's nurturing it. And even in your work, you are, like you said, you're the big sister, you're the mama vibe, you're nurturing your clients as you mentor them, you're nurturing them. So you're being rewarded for following your north node frequency by focusing on your health, your diet, your routine.
Yeah.
And making sure that routine is about mothering with kindness, nurturing, and really taking care of the people that you love.
It's so interesting you bring that up because, part of my routine is I take my dog and my baby on 2 hikes a day.
Wow.
And, because I live in a forest.
Yeah.
And I was getting like resentful. And I was like, I have to take this dog on a walk twice a day. And I had my own, again, self-awareness conversation with myself. Honey, this isn't a routine. It's a ritual and it's a beautiful one. You get to spend time in this glorious land that you manifested.
Yes.
Doing nothing all day, but frolicking in the forest with your baby on your back and your beautiful, loyal dog who is having the time of their life. Change your tune.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I took that, remote control of my brain and I changed the channel to gratitude and honor.
Yes.
I am nurturing my dog. I am mothering my dog. My dog has chosen me to be its guardian in this lifetime.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
Instead of being resentful that I have to take it for a walk, I don't have to, I get to.
Yes.
And I literally just changed the tune of my mind. And now it's something I look forward to every day when I was really not looking forward to it for a few months there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to understand how you can just shift. It just shift the energy, shift your attitude, change the energy, change the tune.
So I really like to use that example
awareness
of that remote control. I like that example because I want people who are listening to use it. If you're let's say you're in a downward spiral about oh, my boyfriend or my girlfriend is driving me crazy. Change the channel.
Yes.
Change the channel. Literally start thinking about something else. And the best channel to change to is gratitude. Right. But if we can pretend we have a remote and our brain is has, just imagine the, what's that? The menu on the cable thing. Just pick the one you want.
The guide.
Thank you. I don't watch TV. Can you tell? Go to the guide and pick the channel you want. Because that's what I do. And the way I teach, Scott, is through what I do, because what I do really works. Yes. So if I say to myself, change the channel. Yes. And I do it. Yes. It's not just a metaphor I'm giving. I literally say that to myself because sometimes you have to change the channel 100 times before your brain says, you know what, instead of going through the rigmarole of the mental anguish, pulling out the remote, picking the channel and changing it, I'm just going to go to the channel I want to be on. I'm just going to be on the gratitude channel from here on out. So it's neuroplasticity as well.
Yeah, so, it's a practice.
It's a practice. So just keep practicing until you are tuned in to that perfect channel that gets you where you want to go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. So this isn't, so I want you to share, I feel like there's a story here that I want to.
I'm already laughing, so I think there is.
Because you're married, you have a child. How did you meet your husband? Is there some amazing story behind this?
You did all the reading. You tell everyone. I will say
one thing about about your husband is it's funny because, he's a Taurus sun.
Yeah.
And so, that's like the most practical sign. And so the fact that he is, the skeptic and the, about all the woo of like manifestation, because he's like locked in that if I can't see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or feel it, then how do I know that it's real?
You know what? Let me give you a quick story before I tell you how we met.
Yes.
So we're taking a road trip from California to Northwest Montana. That's like a beast of a road trip.
Wow.
And we have a baby and a dog in our car.
Wow.
And the suspension in my car goes out.
Oh my God.
Out.
Oh
now,
my God.
My husband, who is a non-professional, but a mechanic, he does all the mechanical work on all of our cars. He builds overlanding vehicles. He gets under there and he's like, there's no fixing this. It needs to be 100% replaced.
Oh my God.
And we're in the middle of nowhere. And I need to be back at work in 2 days. So I go, okay, well, can we get home? He goes, oh, we can get home, but it's going to be boom, boom, boom. And your head's going to be hitting the ceiling and the baby's going to be screaming. I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay, just start driving. I go, I need you to shut up. And I am going to go into deep manifestation mode. Don't say a word. Mm-hmm. I got so deep within for 35 minutes. I'm talking to my angels. I'm talking to God. I'm talking to my ancestors. And I am thanking them for going under the car and lifting it up and carrying us home. That's specifically what I'm manifesting.
Okay.
Please lift it and carry us, because it was just smashing on the whatever it's called. Yes. I don't know what it's called. We're going 70 on the freeway. It's snowing, like white out. All of a sudden, the headlights point down onto the asphalt.
Yeah.
Our car had been lifted and we were being carried, and we got home over 600 miles, being carried and lifted by my angels.
What?
So my husband, who will go in and out of believing me,
yeah,
he knows there was no way that could have possibly happened unless there were angels back there holding up the car.
Oh,
this just happened. So I could give you like a million ways.
This happened recently?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And you were going from California to...
We were coming back. We went home for the holidays. So a few months ago.
Back to Montana.
We were coming back to Montana from being in Southern California.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time where people go, oh, you can manifest health and abundance. Oh, you can manifest anything, honey. I can manifest broken suspension. And that's not the first time I've manifested car stuff while I'm driving. That's how I knew I could do it. That's why I said, just let me really focus. I need to not be interrupted because this is a big ask.
Yeah.
I need this now.
Yeah.
So
were you sitting in the passenger seat?
I was in the back seat with the baby, holding the baby with one hand, praying with the other hand. Yeah. And we saw those headlights. They were going into the snow. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they started pointing down, and it was only the back. I'll text you some pictures, Scott.
Yes.
Because I took pictures. The wheels in the front were like regular wheel well height. Uh-huh. The wheels in the back, there was like a 9-inch gap between the top of the wheel well and the top of the tire.
Wow.
Like our car was lifted 9 inches in the back.
Wow.
That's
so
impossible.
It was smooth the rest of the way back.
Oh, baby. Oh, I never even changed it. My car's still like that. I never even got it fixed.
But it's not bouncing anymore? Oh my God.
I can never tell with that thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
But okay, so did your husband looked at it and like
he was going to fix it.
Now that but he's looked at it now and he's like, there's nothing wrong with it now.
Oh, we still need to replace the parts.
Okay.
But it's running fine.
But it's running fine.
But it's up there.
Wow. Wow.
Like if there's not an angel carrying that up. Yeah. So, okay. So to go back to your question.
Yes.
I met my husband in college. He too went to UCI to be a doctor.
Uh-huh.
And
he's not a doctor now.
No. And we both were in vibrational alignment We were the same person in two different bodies. And we both loved to party, didn't like school. So we really aligned that way. We both were in other relationships, cheated on them, found each other, had been together ever since. We got together on my birthday. So January 2002. So it's been 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, you were both in other relationships when you got together?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we could not deny the fact we were supposed to be together.
Yes.
Like there was no guilty conscience about it. Right. It was like, this is it. We waited a long time to get married because we're no fools. Like I didn't want to be a statistic. I knew that you're not really truly who you are at that age. So we waited to get married till I think we were like 27 or 28 or something like that.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Right before. So he was with you during the DUI and all that.
Oh, sort of stuff. Everything. We've completely grown up together. We've done our entire adulthood together. There's nothing we don't know about each other. We're just like
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you have this one really special aspect in your charts. I'm sure I told you about it during your reading, but it's really like kind of I think of it as kind of like the cure-all in astrological synastry when you're talking about the charts of two people. Like if you have this one aspect, it kind of softens everything else, or if there is any sort of conflict or anything like that, it gets smoothed over by this aspect. And it's your moon in Pisces is aligning with his sun in Taurus in a sextile, which is an earth water connection. It's like his earth gives your water form and your water nurtures his earth. But you are like, there's really strong emotional compatibility between the two of you. And so when you have that emotional compatibility, it's like whatever comes up, it can kind of get smoothed over because of it. So it's a really beautiful aspect that the two of you share. Yeah. That's awesome. So can you tell me everything that you're up to right now? How are you supporting yourself, your clients? Like people want to work with you. Like in what ways are you working with people right now?
Well, I'm extremely selective because, again, my priorities.
So how do you select? Yeah.
People find me.
Yeah.
I do put that into my manifestation as well. Thank you for aligning me with those who want to work with me and have the solutions that I offer. Yeah. So I really manifest the clients that I want. And, it's not regular. It's not like I get one every week. I might get a few a year. That's fine. That's what I want. I want people who I can work with the best. People typically find me on Instagram at the I Am Everything Project. Now, when I moved here from California, I took all of my systems down because I how you'll click a link and then you're in someone's email and then you get all these things and then you can book with me here. I took all that down because I knew that I wanted to slow it down. And I didn't want to provide service that wasn't good service. I was pregnant. I gave birth to my baby in my living room here. I knew that I wasn't going to want to be taking on clients and having people try to book with me and me denying people. So I just took everything down. So if people want to work with me, you can shoot me an email, info@andrealowell.com, or DM me on Instagram at the I Am Everything Project. But if people want really hardcore mentorship, like you're ready to live a life that you deserve and dream of, and whatever that looks like to you. Yes, I live in the forest, but maybe your dream life is like living in a penthouse in Malibu. Whatever you want, we can get you there. It just depends. But it has to be a symbiotic relationship. I've had clients where they want me to do all the work for them. And it's like, I can't be your vibration for you. I'll give you all the tools you want. I will give you all the reflection you need. I will give you all the guidance from the bottom of my heart I can give, but you have to walk the walk. Like I can't walk the walk for you. I can hold your hand the whole way. So I do work with men and women. I was just working with women for a while, but so many guys need this too. And they want that kind of mama nurturing energy. I got that on lock. My heart chakra is my greatest gift. It really is my favorite thing about myself is the way I can just open it up and share it.
Wow.
So if people have that need where they just need to be like enveloped with love, unconditional love, because I act through non-judgment. Like you could tell me anything about yourself and I would not think less of you. I would say,
Mm,
okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that.
yeah.
Because everything to me is by divine design, and everything that we experience in this lifetime is part of that karmic dharmic plan that we truly entered this realm knowing we were going to enter into. So I'm like, this is just part of your soul contract with this life cycle. Let's go in. Like,
Exactly.
let's examine this.
Yes.
So as long as people aren't afraid of, dipping their toe in that murky pond we talked about at the top of the
Hmm.
show, let's do it. But
Yes.
that's pretty much all I'm offering right now is just one-on-one mentorship with select
Love it.
clients. Yeah.
Love it.
It has
Love
to be
it.
a vibrational match. If we get on the
Yes.
phone, like to do an interview, just because we have to see if we both want to work with each other. And if I'm like, I don't know, and you're like,
Mm.
I don't know, that's a no.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's
It's
not
got to
an
be a hell yes.
enthusiastic yes, it's a no. If you ever ask anyone a question anywhere, and the
Yeah.
answer is maybe, that's
Yeah.
a no.
Yeah.
Anything that's not yes is yes, is
Yeah.
no. Anything that's
Yeah.
not yes is no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Okay. Can you tell me about your pregnancy and
Yeah.
giving birth in your home and
Yes.
like what is that all about? Like what was that like? I know like you were open on your Instagram about kind of the different parts of your pregnancy and I remember somebody I saw you were answering a bunch of questions and
Yes.
somebody was like, are you concerned because you're in your early 40s and having a child? And you're like, I'm healthier in my early 40s than most people are in their early 20s. And I love that. That was so inspiring
Yes.
to
See,
me.
confidence has never been an issue with me.
Yes. But it's so true. It's like age is just a number. Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean that your health is better than somebody who's older than you.
I just had this conversation with a girlfriend of mine. She goes, oh, I'm a high risk pregnancy. She's 41 and she's pregnant right now. And I said,
yeah.
oh my God, why are you high risk?
Yeah,
Like, I thought she was going to tell me she had like, I don't know, flesh eating bacteria or something. I'm like, why are you high risk?
Yeah.
She goes, I'm 41. I go, girl, metabolically speaking, you are way healthier than an 18-year-old who gets pregnant and eats Oreos, donuts, and Cheetos for lunch.
Exactly.
You are not high risk. Don't let your doctor impregnate you with that mindset.
Exactly.
That's some bullshit, because you're going to believe you're high risk and your cells are going to believe it. And you might manifest an outcome you don't want. So, and because this girl's healthy.
Yes.
I'm like, please don't listen to that BS, that fear mongering. Listen to the truth of your reality. Do you have any problems? She goes, no. I go, boom, not high risk. So I had the initiation of all initiations with my pregnancy, Scott.
Tell me.
Oh, Lord.
What do you mean by that?
I had the worst pregnancy that you could ever imagine.
Well, how so?
Every negative symptom you can have, I had. I was so nauseous, the thought of water made me want to hurl. Like water.
And that was the entire pregnancy, like 9 months you felt that way?
The first two trimesters.
The first two trimesters.
And it wasn't morning. It was 24/7, 365.
24/7. Wow.
I had gestational diabetes, which is where your placenta tells your body to not handle insulin the way you're supposed to handle it. So you actually get type 2 diabetes while you're pregnant only.
Uh-huh. So how'd you handle that?
I handled that 100% holistically. I was my own doctor.
Yeah. What did you do?
I did hill training in the back. Basically, I did intervals. I followed the advice of famed nutritionist and naturopathic doctor Barbara O'Neill with her regular diabetes cures. And I did high intensity interval training the way I could do, having a really debilitating pregnancy, because I was having all sorts of pain, sciatica, leg spasms, you name it. And I did the hills up and down in my backyard every day, rain or shine. I did it in 18-degree Fahrenheit weather in the pouring snow. Like nothing was
Wow.
going to stop me because I'm not going on insulin during my pregnancy.
Yeah. And
My
so what does
personal
that
choice.
do? Just like the walking, the climbing
Okay.
helps with diabetes. How? I
So
don't understand
what
any
it
of this
does
stuff. So,
is the cell will open up and the receptors for insulin will become present.
okay.
So now the insulin that's circulating around, or the blood sugar rather, the blood sugar
Mm-hmm.
that's circulating around, the sugars in your blood can now latch onto those receptors inside the cell and get used proficiently, rather than if I were to, let's say, eat breakfast and sit down and scroll on my phone or watch a show, because that's what someone who's very pregnant and uncomfortably pregnant wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to train your pancreas to release more insulin to try to lower that blood sugar. No cells have opened. So again, the creator designed this perfect system for our bodies to handle and our bodies to self-heal. We just have to kind of understand how it works. So I was opening my cells to receive that high blood sugar, to work on it, let it use as glycogen in the muscle rather than rotate around in my body as glucose. And the muscles run on glycogen. So I just had to open them up and tell them, hey, use me, use me. And that's why that works. I also had to do a nearly ketogenic diet.
What does that mean?
It's where you don't take in a certain amount of carbohydrates, so your body has to burn the fat for fuel, and you're not taking in carbohydrates for it to use as fuel. I had never gone into ketosis before, and I wasn't going to try it being pregnant, even though I'm 99% sure that it's fine. I just didn't want to be my own guinea pig in this instance. And so I went nearly ketogenic. I would cheat at times by eating like green apples and things like that. But my carbs were from like legumes or vegetables. I cut out like all rice and stuff like that. And I also took something called inositol, which is a naturally occurring B vitamin that's also a sugar that works kind of like metformin would, or another diabetes medication, helping your body. So I would have a really high fasting read on my blood sugar. So I would drink some water mixed with some inositol powder in the middle of the night. And please, anyone listening to this, please talk to your own midwife about this. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm just telling Scott what I did.
Your story. This is your story.
And I'd wake up and I'd have a great blood, my fasting read on my glucometer, which is a little thing that you prick your finger with and test your blood. And my midwife was like, who are you and how did you 100% mitigate your gestational diabetes? I tried to explain to her human design a little bit. Look, lady, when I'm interested in the subject, I become an expert. And I read a couple books on it like twice. Like I'm that person. And I mitigated it. So my baby, when she was born, she was 7 pounds, 9 ounces, which is like absolutely perfect. And born to term, did not come early. So the fear with gestational diabetes is that you're going to have this gigantic baby that's just been swimming in blood sugar with their pancreas overworked. You could cause metabolic failure with your baby because you haven't gotten your own stuff in control. So now your baby's pancreas is overworking. Now they're going to get diabetes. Or type 2 diabetes. So
how do you know you had that to begin with?
I was craving the most disgusting foods. Like I wanted to go to Costco and buy like a thing of like cookies and eat like the whole thing on the drive home. Like, that's beyond a pregnancy craving. That's like my body is screaming for something. Talked to my midwife about it and she goes, yeah, let's check your blood sugar right now. That does not sound right. And she also said I wasn't looking too fresh. She's like, you're looking kind of like swollen, like not in a pregnant glow way, like in a ruddy, gross way. Sorry. I was like, it's okay. It's the truth. And she said that my blood sugar at that time was higher than she'd like it to be for someone who had eaten hours previously as I had. And so we diagnosed me. And I did not do the glucola drink. I do not believe in drinking something extremely toxic and with food colorings that has glucose in it, pure straight up into my temple and having my baby drink that. So I opted to do the glucometer testing, the finger pricking for everything. And I rigorously monitored the duration of my pregnancy. I wrote down everything that I ate, the time that I ate it, the time of my read, what the read was, how much inositol I was taking, what exercise I did. It was intense. It was a part-time job, but the most beautiful part-time job I ever did, because at 41 years old, I gave birth to a beautifully healthy baby that was in a perfect weight range. We've had zero issues, not even a diaper rash. And she's, 13 months old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How far into the pregnancy did you realize that you were diabetic?
I don't recall.
You don't
Probably
remember? Okay.
second trimester.
Second trimester, yeah.
But I don't recall. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Well, if someone wants to do the math is not my thing. If know thyself, right? I got pregnant in June, and it was Halloween, and me and the Halloween candy that I was like, something's not right.
Yeah, that's second trimester.
I would never eat Halloween candy, ever, and I was getting down with Get Down, Scott.
Yeah.
So something was wrong.
You're like tackling little kids, like, give me your candy.
Scott, I live in a rural town where everyone lives acres away. And I in air quotes, everyone bought Halloween candy for the neighborhood kids.
And you're just eating it all yourself.
Neighborhood kids? Yes. I was lying to myself. I didn't know I was. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But by the third trimester, you kind of settled in.
I still had a really rough pregnancy. I was having sciatica. I was having leg cramps every night. I had insomnia my entire pregnancy, 9 months of insomnia.
Wow.
It was really, really rough. I just had a really hard pregnancy. But again, I didn't get into a pity party about it. I said, this is what I signed up for.
You created a solution.
Everything that is challenging in my life is so I can show another person how to get over that hurdle.
Wow.
That's my mindset. So if I'm going to be able to be of service through this experience, then that's what this is about. Okay, bring it on. Bring it on. Yes. And so it's been challenging. And they say no two pregnancies are alike. So I know that if I get pregnant again, it's not going to be that.
Yes.
So that'll be good.
Yes. How about the birthing process and doing that at home? Was that
amazing?
Yes.
Amazing.
Tell me.
Don't want anyone to ever go to a hospital. It's so nice at home. We didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I labored at home on my couch with my husband and with my dog. I listened to my music with my weirdo affirmation track that I recorded for myself over 432 hertz.
Oh, wow.
Email me, info@andrealowell.com. I'll shoot it to you. I didn't have to go anywhere after. So I labored at home. My midwife came, filled up the labor tub. We gave birth in the tub. She cleaned up everything. She left. I was there already with my baby. We didn't have to do anything. I was in my love nest. I was telling my husband the other day, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't have to put my newborn baby in a car seat and worry about driving home or even detach from her. I want to be cuddling her. I'm so glad that my baby wasn't born under fluorescent lights with monitors beeping and being delivered by a doctor's latex gloved hands, being taken from mom and wiped down vigorously and her cord clamped and all that. I caught my own baby in the tub. I was in a squat, popped her out, put her right to my chest, laid back, and we just let everything happen naturally. We cut the cord after it was 100% done pulsing and was white. My husband cut it. I couldn't look. I found it disgusting. But the baby intuitively went down to my boob and started suckling. It was so precious. She was covered in vernix, which is that cheesy white stuff. We did not wipe it off. We rubbed it in, which works as a natural antimicrobial. It offers protection and moisture. My baby never got newborn dry skin that newborns get. It was just a holy and sacred experience.
Wow.
Was it challenging?
How long
Yes.
did it take for the baby to emerge? How long was
Well,
that, the labor process?
I labored on the couch dealing with really excruciating contractions. I had what they call back labor, which is where the
Mm.
baby is positioned in such a way that it feels like you are on fire on your lower back. And
Mm.
so I had a really difficult pregnancy. Every negative
Mm-hmm.
symptom you could have, I pretty much had. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was just on fire for like 12 hours. And then I moved to the birthing tub, and then I pushed, but I didn't, pushing in air quotes.
How many hours you were on the couch? It was
It
5 hours,
was
you said?
the whole labor thing.
Yeah.
I think it was like 12 hours.
Wow. Okay.
I, th-
Yeah. Yeah.
but I was in the tub and quote pushed, but I wasn't really pushing. You know what I mean? The body
Uh-huh.
pushes for an hour.
Wow.
So the active labor, that
Yeah.
part, like the pushing labor, that was
Yeah.
brief.
Yeah.
That was
But
brief.
an hour's not brief, though. I mean, that's still.
It felt like an eternity. When my
I
midwife
wouldn't
told
say an
me,
hour's brief, of pushing and that's intense.
it was intense. But she said
Yeah.
for a first time mom, that was really like good, like time
Wow.
wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I let my baby do the work. Like
Mm-hmm.
the baby knows what it's doing. The
Mm-hmm.
baby's lungs are the ones that signal a hormone to tell your uterus when to start contracting. That's why
Mm.
when the baby's hiccuping inside your body, it's actually inhaling amniotic fluid to get its lungs practicing and for breathing its first breath. And when its lungs are ready, the baby emits a signal to the body hormonally saying, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm fully cooked.
Yeah.
So and then the body or the baby rather, like twists and turns and gets into like this perfect position. And like the baby's really the boss of birth. So I kind of just like let the baby do it.
Mm.
Yeah. I will say though, my midwife did have me do some very hard breathing exercises at the end because she didn't want me to tear. So she's like, just breathe, like, and it's so hard to do because your body's like really, it wants to tense and you want to just like pop that thing out. She's like, just exhale, exhale, exhale as much as you can. So the baby just comes out gently and doesn't pop out so that you don't rip. And, that was pretty much the only part of the labor she guided me through. And even though it was really hard, I was grateful for that because I didn't rip. And I just, caught that baby and put her right on me. And the rest is history. And of course, James is a blubbering mess crying. We still almost daily talk about how wild that experience was and how every man needs to experience that.
Wow.
It's an initiation for the dads as much as it is for the moms. Just
Tell
a
me,
completely
how
different
so?
initiation.
What does he say about that? Like, what is that perspective? What's the initiation?
You watch your woman travel to other realms and pull the deepest sense of strength that they can find. And you are a witness to your wife, your partner, like going to a depth of their soul and their physical part of them that you didn't even know that they had access to, or that there was that level to access. And so you get this radical respect and this radical sense of responsibility. I'm going to protect this woman and this baby at all costs. She has just sacrificed so much for this point. I'm going to sacrifice everything I can. And it's like this puzzle in your brain. It's like a Rubik's Cube. It opens and it closes and it changes the combination. So instead of being like all red stripes, now it's like red, blue, and green on one side. And that's now your new locked in like brain chemistry of like, I'm the ultimate protector. and this is, I have to protect this mom and this baby at all costs. It's like this radical shift.
Wow.
And then like absolute love, instant love, in love with the baby. Like a level of love that you can't even fathom. Now, for me, I was already expecting that because you'll feel this unconditional love. You're going to love it. I'm like, great, bring it on. What no one told me about was the level of joy that the baby brings. Like it's literally like popping to Molly, Scott. You'll like this. Pop that Molly and just be with your baby all day, but you can drive and you don't need glow sticks. You're like, this is cool. I'm not going to grind my teeth off. The level of joy that your child brings you is the best. the best. And yeah, of course, there's stressful moments when you don't know why your newborn's fussing and you're trying everything, you're pulling out all the tricks and nothing's working and you don't know what you're doing. That's fine. It's part of the chaos. But that's fleeting.
Yes.
That's not how it is. That's just moments of chaos. That's normal. But you learn, right? Like through everything, we learn. And then you're just like, literally, they call it a bundle of joy, but no one really explains. It's a bundle of joy. It's pure joy. And that is, I feel like the creator also did this by design to make it almost addicting to give birth, because 6 months in, you want to do it again because you just want to, chase that dragon. Like, I want to feel this again. This is so cool. I want more joy in my life. This is amazing. I want more babies. I want all the babies. Yes. And, I'm glad I actually didn't actively try to get pregnant though at like 6 to 9 months, because now I'm in toddler zone and I'm like, okay, no, I can't, I cannot be having a baby right now. This is a lot. I got a baby that's trying to run around and climb on stuff and pull crystals off the wall. She broke one of my crystals. I'm like, thank God that nothing happened. So I learned that lesson and move all the crystals, even the ones you think she can't do anything to. The big ones are still a problem. It's a lot going on in the house right now to even for me to consider having a baby. I give so much respect to people that do the 2 under 2. Props to you guys. You are the real MVPs of life. Y'all are miracle workers. Mad respect, So it's wild though. I wish everyone though, the experience of being in the comfort of their own home. And if you can get a midwife, and people say, well, I can't afford it. Often midwives are more reasonable than hospitals. I live in a rural community. So mine was $3,000 out the door, including aftercare visits, everything. I think in California, they go anywhere from 5 to 15,000. But it's worth every penny. Every penny. You can decline any test you want or any other medical intervention that you don't want, just in the safety of your home. It's wonderful. Yes. Pure autonomy, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. You just allowed your body and the baby's body to do what they were designed to do.
Yeah, without any outside interference.
Yeah.
Wow. Trusting in that innate wisdom of your body and the baby.
It's so interesting because when you think of, you talk about the divine, and when I look at somebody's astrological code, I'm like, you are a divine creation, because the next time the planets and stars will be aligned in the way that they were aligned when you were born is over 25,000 years from the date, time, and place of your birth.
You just gave me chills on my face.
So when you think about that moment where your baby is, the lungs are opening up, and it's like the code is saying, okay, the planets are aligning in the manner that they need to be when you are supposed to take your first breath, and then it happens.
Yes.
And it's happening exactly as it's supposed to happen.
So for me, I don't want to medicalize that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pathologize that. And what that means is turn any regular bodily function or divine thing like that into a disease. Don't treat me like I have a disease. This is a divine entrance of this being through my womb portal into this realm. There's nothing more holy. And so I really wanted to make sure, that I just did everything in my power to not be transferred to the hospital. And that's because of my reverence to birth. I am not poo-pooing anyone who does it. My best friend was pregnant at the same time. She had a hospital birth. I never once thought less of that birth, because that's her story. That's how that baby chose to enter this realm.
Exactly.
I had a psychic reading and while I was pregnant, just because I wanted to get to know more about my baby. And she goes, your baby wants a home birth. I go, yeah, I know. That's why she picked me. So, but that made me realize some babies, they want a hospital birth.
Yes.
Some babies want a C-section. You choose your entrance. So I will never look at someone's decision that they made based on everything that's gone on in their life and their knowledge. Because it's not the decision I made. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Everything is divine.
Everything's divine.
Whatever you choose, whichever path you decide to be on is the way that it's meant to be. I am a C-section baby, but it's really interesting because I have a very clear understanding of my birth as told from my parents,
Right.
because like my mom was in labor for probably over 12 hours or so.
Okay.
And
like active labor, like the pushing?
Like just the pushing and just like, it was like,
that's
it was a long time. And then so they finally was like, okay, we got to do a CSEC. And this is like back in the 70s.
This was before they were common.
Like, my dad was, he wasn't even allowed back in there in the hospital. It's like now, like the father can be there, but back in the day, my dad was just like in a waiting room.
Right.
And he was just recording him being in the waiting room, talking to other people in the waiting room. And when I finally emerged, he went to the nursery, and there was like 12 babies there. And there was one baby who was just screaming and crying. All the other babies were sleeping. And my dad was like, well, which one's mine? And it was the one who was crying. That's me. So, I mean, I just feel that like fluorescent light and the trauma of being C-sectioned and all that sort of stuff. But, that's what my soul called to do in this life.
Because when you entered, that was your astrological coding at that moment. So it's like, to me, it's like, we chose all of this. There's nothing.
That's what people ask me all the time too, is like, well, I was a C-section baby, or I came 2 weeks early, or
that's
I
what
was
you
a
wanted.
little bit late. I was like, no, you were right on time.
Yeah.
Because they think that maybe their astrological code should be different. And I'm like, no, it's when you took your first breath. And that's when it was supposed to be.
Yes.
And there's no wrong stories.
Yes.
It's your story.
I love that.
And it's reconciling. And so, everything, it's so interesting because I just see the thread of you where it's like you had that experience with your grandmother. Mm-hmm. And so you're, you filed that away in your unconscious probably back then that I'm never going to have a baby in this place.
I'm never going to a hospital.
I'm never going to a hospital.
I don't know if it was unconscious, very conscious. I'm not going to a hospital. I need to be bleeding out to be going to a hospital.
Yes. So was that something you talked about with your midwife? You're like, really under no circumstance do I want to go to a hospital. You've got to help me do whatever I can do to not go to a hospital. She
really was like, okay, but if we have to transfer, we have to transfer. And I was like, no, not really. If we have to, I might just like I told her, unless I am going to die or the baby is going to die, I'm not transferring. Yeah. She did make me, and I appreciate this.
Yeah.
She made me get like the helicopter insurance so I could be like hella-vaced out because I live so far from a hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
That because she wanted me to give birth in her birthing center, which is close to a hospital. And I'm like,
no, still doing it at the home. I'll do the helicopter insurance, but
I'll be airlifted.
If there's a life or death emergency, yes.
Well, because the chances for me, the chances were slim. Also, because I was manifesting a perfect birth, I just felt really confident that I wasn't going to have.
You lifted the car off the ground, so you're like, "This is going to be like." What were you saying? This is going to be the most amazing birth. It's going to be healthy, and
I don't remember the word. I think just
is a feeling.
Just perfect in all ways without intervention. Intervention free. I don't like to use negatives when I manifest. So I wouldn't have said without. Intervention free, full of bliss. Easy, smooth, with free of hitches or glitches, just to the point and perfect. Things like that. Yeah.
Was it just you, the midwife, and your husband, or was there a doula there too? Or
there was a midwife assistant who acted as a doula. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
I wish it for everyone. I just had such a great experience.
It sounds amazing. It sounds incredible.
I mean, imagine like these two little like midwife fairies that come set everything up. You don't even notice because you're on the couch like in labor. Like, and then you turn, oh, there's a tub ready to go. Oh, let's jump in. And then you have your baby. you finally get out of the tub, you're on the couch, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're gone. Oh, cool. Okay. Like, it's like midwife ninjas. Like,
Yeah.
they cleaned everything up. Like, there was no bloody towels. I mean, it was great. My
Wow.
midwife did help me with like my first shower and everything. And it was just so
Mm.
beautiful. It taught me how to use all like the postpartum products. Um,
Mm.
I just
What was
highly recommend it.
what was the experience of postpartum for you?
Aside from like just being in pain, down yonder, it was
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
have any depressive issues.
Mm-hmm.
I was extremely hormonal though. My sister-in-law came to help, 2 weeks postpartum. And I just remember like things were coming out of my mouth that I'm like, am I having an out of body experience? Like I'm being like rude and curt and like,
Mm.
I wasn't acting like me. And I
Mm.
realized the hormones had just taken the wheel of my vehicle and I was no longer driving.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the passenger. I was like in the back seat.
Yeah.
And so I would, caution people that it's an extremely vulnerable time and you might not want to have people in your bubble
Mm-hmm.
at all. Because
Mm.
looking back, I probably just should have been alone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you think
Wow.
you need the help, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need the help. I just want to be in my
Okay.
bed with my baby.
Yeah.
But I did
Yeah.
that. I nested hard with my baby. We were
Mm.
just in the rocker, in the bed,
Mm-hmm.
just
Just
hardcore.
feeding and sleeping and resting and
Yeah. Just being,
wow.
just connecting.
And that's just sowing your soul's purpose is the North Node in Cancer.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The
Yeah.
mama.
Yeah. It's just so
Wow.
natural.
Yes. Mm.
Like you're afraid because you know nothing and it seems so overwhelming, but it's so natural. Like it's okay to not know nothing or to know nothing because,
Because the body knows.
the body knows, but like I moved away from my mom, my sisters, my best friends, everyone that would be there to help me. I moved
Mm.
so far away from. So you
Mm-hmm.
feel like, did I mess up? Should I have had this baby in California? Should I be with my network of people who've walked this path before me? And it's
Mm.
like, you know what? I'm fine. Wow. It's
Mm.
so natural. I have my husband who's my rock. Yeah, there's
Mm.
moments where it's like scary because you like, oh, the baby won't stop crying. Oh no, oh no, oh no. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get through it. You get
Yes.
through it. And that's what having a little tiny newborn's about. Then you get through that phase and then it's just like giggles and first words and rolling over. And it's just all the cute
Mm-hmm.
stuff after that. So
Yes.
it's just so natural.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love it. Just everything's flowing. You're just taking,
It's a day at a time.
it's
It's
a
a
day at a
minute at a
time.
time
It's a
sometimes.
minute at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wow. Andrea, I'm just so grateful to have this conversation with you. You have just enlightened me and inspired me and I imagine the audience too, because you are just a wealth of abundant energy and your vibration is so high. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've shared here with me. Is there any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would like to share with those who are
Yeah.
listening?
You touched on it. It's compassion. If anyone is
Mm,
suffering, we suffer because of what's going on in our mind. Suffering is a
mm,
mental event. Pain happens. Suffering is optional and we can turn it off. So if we're mad at someone, they did this to me, they're treating me this way. I want you to really look at them through a lens of compassion, realizing that they are going through whatever they are going through, their struggles that they signed up for in this karmic cycle. And, they might be failing their life tests and it's none of our business. But what I can
mm.
do is give them love and compassion because I am a loving, forgiving, and compassionate person. So I implore anyone that's listening right now to really look through that lens of compassion toward those that we are not too happy with. It really will change things. And that will help change our vibration because, again, it's our reaction to things that create our vibration. If I'm going around being nasty and mad and all the time about stuff, I'm not going to be able to create a life of my dreams. Scott, I'll briefly mention, you
Yeah.
mentioned on one of your podcasts how sometimes you can test your spiritual condition, not in those words, but when you're driving.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's something that I tell my clients to do. Oh, you want to
Yeah.
you want to know where your spiritual condition is right now? See
Yeah.
how you react when you're driving. So
Yeah.
the exercise I give my clients is wave people over, give them a
Mm,
peace sign, wave thank
mhm,
you when people let you over.
mm,
Be the example of um, being courteous when you're driving, and watch the karmic effect of that. Give it about 2 weeks of just being like super courteous and super grateful. And also, I mentioned it because compassion. I think, what if that person's going to the hospital right now? What if they just
mm,
got fired from their job? What if they're arguing with their wife on the phone? Like, it's
mhm.
none of my business. I send love and compassion to everyone. I'm not going to take it personal. That person being an a-hole has nothing to do with me,
Mhm.
right? I'm going to give
Yes.
them love and compassion. And I'm going to give this person a little wave who let me over. I'm going to let that truck over. Doesn't cost me anything to decelerate and let a truck over. It really doesn't. Let's just do it. And see how your life changes in
Mm,
2 weeks. And you're going to notice on the freeway, now everyone's letting you over. Now
mm.
people at stop signs, when you go land at the same time, they're going to be like, no, you go, no, you go. Like, I mean, it's life changing and it's tangible. So I want people to use that as an exercise too. Be the most courteous driver you can on the road. And in 2 weeks, maybe even sooner, if you're really diligent, you're going to start seeing how you're manifesting a new reality in your car. And you're going to be like, oh, this Android lady's onto something. So
Wow.
what we can apply one place, we can apply every place. We just have to clean up your karmic crud from all the
Mm,
different places. And so let's just start with the car. And
love that.
you'll know where you are spiritually by your reaction in the car, and you can clean it up in the car.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
beautiful.
cool.
That's
It's
exactly. It's
tangible.
such a simple exercise. I mean, it
Well,
might be difficult to actually,
it's easy. It's
do it
actually
well,
really
but
easy. It's really easy.
but it's
Trust
a
me.
simple way to just like understand where you are energetically and change the channel, so to speak. And one of the things that I've noticed about that too in the car is like when I'm driving and there's nothing on the radio,
Yes, honey.
I'm not talking on the phone, it's just quiet.
Yes.
That's when I'm my most spiritually coherent and I'm letting people in, or I'm
Yes,
slowing
honey.
down, all that sort of stuff. It's when I'm listening to two people argue about sports on the radio or politics, or,
Turn it off.
or I'm on the phone with somebody who's upset about something. That's when I start getting angry at the drivers on the road.
They literally change the channel. Okay.
Yes,
Literally turn
yes.
that shit
Yes,
off.
or the music that's not at the 432 hertz,
Right.
that's at the 440, that's all that discordant energy that's now
Yes.
vibrating through my
Your
body.
car can be the holiest place on earth or the most like just satanic realm place on earth. One, you're
Mm-hmm.
already getting all the EMF from all the computer stuff that's going on in the car. Let's be real. You're getting the
Mm-hmm.
EMF from the Gwyn towers and the cell towers and all that stuff on the freeway. So
Mm-hmm.
already we're being bombarded and blasted by really detrimental frequencies to our natural frequency. Then
Mm.
we put on music that's been tuned negatively to imprint us negatively, or we're listening to
Yes.
people argue because it's entertaining. So what we need to do is either go into complete silence and be in a love song to our higher power, whatever we choose to call it, angels, ancestors, great spirit, whatever. Go into a love song of gratitude while we're on our commute, or put on some really high vibrational music we can sing along to that like ramps us up, um,
Mm-hmm.
or just create that sense of peace. I have crystals in my car. I have Palo Santo in my car. I got all the things. My car is
Mm-hmm.
my altar on wheels.
Yes.
So, and I'm not even into altars, but it is. You know what I
Can
mean?
can you tell me more, like, what do you mean when you say like high vibrational music? Can you explain what that is?
Yeah.
Because some people might think, well, it's Britney Spears, like singing like about whatever, and
Well,
it's like,
how conspiratorial do we want to get?
let's go
So
there.
the music industry, well, actually, way before mainstream music, the Rockefellers decided to shift music from, I think it was 432 to like 430, like 7 or
440. I
44,
thought it was
something weird.
440.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably, that's what I mean. I don't remember the number.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
shifted it. So everything was now tuned to this. And before, the 432 was our bodies, frequency. That's why you listen to classical music and you're like, I love this.
Yes.
Now, we actually still need to be careful because a lot of music that's out recently is not 432 anymore. So I actually will look up on like Apple Music, for example, like classical music tuned to 432. So there is an intentional agenda to deharmonize our natural state, our natural manifesting state, our natural state of bliss and joy. Imagine again that Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve frolicking around naked, being free and just amazing and beautiful, and all the wonderful vibes and the, you know, I think like Snow White in the forest too, like all the animals just like frolicking around and singing and dancing and like, that's our natural frequency, people. That's it. So the powers that be, you know, the international bankers, the people who rule the world, who rule our food, who rule our medicines, who rule everything, our education, they rule our music too. Now, with popular music, they decided to take these albums and actually like pray over them, like demonically, like imprint music, current day music with negative, and I don't mean to be like religious sounding, but I don't know a better word for it. Demonic or satanic imprints.
Who is doing this?
The music industry, who's run by all the same people.
Yes, but you were saying like the Rockefellers, they're the ones that created, they pushed
this system.
They're the root of the system.
There's a group of families. It goes back to like the Knights of the Templar. I mean, if you want to do it's certain bloodlines that just are like an evil cabal, like truly, that are just trying to take dominion over everyone. And they'll do anything possible. Now, how you know how powerful you are as a creator and a manifestor is the fact that they are trying to pollute you through your music. They're trying to pollute you through your water and your food and your frequency and your cell phone and all these things. Why do they have to give you a full spectrum assault if you're not a full spectrum badass?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And they still haven't won. So you'll notice people who are really high up in like the health world or just manifestation. They're also like super truthers. It's like they've almost understood on a spiritual level the matrix that we live in, and we're not afraid of it. We just circumnavigate it, right? So to go back to the music, if we are listening to, and don't get me wrong, some music makes me feel good. Let's say I want to do some oops, I did it again. I need to do that in full consciousness that this has been imprinted by the music industry to bring me down. So even though I'm in a high vibe with it, maybe I want to put up a little like white light of protection before I listen, or I want to drown it out by listening to like Beautiful Chorus, which is like a group I love, like for like an hour after that. We are more powerful than they are. So we don't have to be permeable to it. I can set my intention. I can imagine mirrors all around me facing outward, and anything negative that comes in just gets reflected right back out. So there's just certain like real quick little things you can do that protect you, because intention is everything. If you study quantum theory, intention is everything. So if my intention is to not be affected by this music, and I'm making this a conscious intention, I'm not going to be, because I am more powerful than it. It's the one getting imprinted, you know, so I can choose not to be. I do have autonomy over myself. So I don't want anyone to be afraid and be like, oh, I really want to listen to some gangster rap. Play that gangster rap. Get hood. It's fun. Like, do it, you know, but just don't let it brainwash you.
Yes. I think about it in terms of, like, if I'm opening up Instagram or turning on a show or listening to, you know, that type of music, whatever that music is, that's at the 440 hertz, I think of it as like opening a bottle of vodka and pouring it into a glass, you know, and then understanding I'm going to drink that. And
it's intoxication.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have to be consciously aware that I am creating this, putting myself potentially to be susceptible to this frequency. So I have to like protect myself energetically. And I'm doing it by the self-awareness that this is what I'm doing. I know that it's going to have some sort of effect on me, but I can't let that effect take me over.
Correct.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want anyone to be afraid of this, but if you want to know the power of the music you're listening to, please listen to some 432 hertz tuned music for like the next month. Go to sleep listening to it. See how your reality changes
Yeah.
when you're on the frequency that the creator designed you to harmonize with.
When I was 16 and I first got my driver's license, I was so excited about getting a CD changer in my car.
Yes.
And I remember having this feeling when I was 16 years old. I was listening to like a lot of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And I felt like the music had an effect on me. Like I felt it change my energy where I was like angry or like it was like anger was coming out. I was acting differently. And I felt it was because I was listening to this music.
Yes.
It was doing something to me.
Yes. Now, if someone is really jammed up, like they're already drinking a fifth of vodka, they're smoking all the weed, they're doing all the cocaine, and they'll be like, I don't feel shit when I listen to music. Yeah, no crap, buddy.
Exactly.
Like you're already like so stuffed with crap. That's just crap coming on the top of your trash can.
Exactly.
Like, let's clean that out. Let's go to the dump it. And then, because like you and I can feel it now. Before I couldn't feel it, but when you were a clear vessel, when you were younger, you could feel it too.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
There's a lot to dip into here. And if you ever want to, do another conversation. we can tell it Conspiracy Corner with Scott and Andrea.
I love it.
We can go harder into it, and I can have some more organized notes for you with some actual numbers of I think it's 440. Yeah.
No,
that could be really fun.
I want to dive down the rabbit hole with you for sure.
Why don't we put it to the listeners? If you guys want it, let us know, because me and Scott want it, but if you don't want it, we don't know. Jam it down your throat.
Exactly. Let us know. I love it. Well, thank you, Andrea. Thank you again. Tell us everyone how they can find you, if they want to connect with you, if they want to work with you.
Of course. My website is my name, Andrea Lowell, LOWELL.com. My email is my name or info@AndreaLowell.com. My favorite Instagram, because I have 3, but my favorite is the I Am Everything Project, because that's what I believe. I believe that we are everything. And the I Am Everything Project is the name of my mentorship. That's my favorite Instagram. So if you want to say what's up, DM me there or watch some of my reels and posts just to get like more of a vibe of my teachings. I'd be so happy with that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Andrea.
My pleasure, Scott.
Great to have you here. Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes, you too.
All right. Bye, darling.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. Interviews and conversations from an astrological lens. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach, from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog Lyman. If you're interested in being a guest on The Weekly Transit, you can email me at scott@theweeklytransit.com. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.